Hello, I'm Elizabeth Marie Largo. This is my life and legacy.
Who painted these pictures?
I painted every picture you're going to see.
Are you kidding me?
No.
This is Bette Largo. At 101 years old, Bette is a living storybook of resilience, love, and service. Over the last few months, she's shared her journey, recorded via Zoom, to preserve a legacy that spans more than a century. And this is Katie and her brother Stephen, longtime neighbors of Bette in Strongsville, Ohio. These three have formed a relationship that's truly one of a kind. Bette affectionately calls them her Earth Angels because of the special bond they share. Katie teasingly refers to Bette as her adopted grandmother. Throughout the movie, Katie will be the one asking the questions that bring Bette's incredible story to life.
All right. What is your full name?
Elizabeth Marie Roberts Largo.
Bette narrowly survived scarlet fever as a child and had a near-death experience at just 8 years old. Bette lived through the Great Depression and witnessed World War II firsthand, where her husband, Jerry, played a leading role in the Army's top-secret Signal Corps. Her brother-in-law, Ray, was a national hero who led the security at JFK's funeral, protecting a legacy that shaped world's history.
We all cherish our children's futures, and that is the most important topic on earth, peace.
Bette gave birth to 4 children: Lynn, Gary, Lori, and Lisa. She is also blessed with 8 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. Bette doesn't just celebrate 101 years of life, she defines it. Being a rebel at heart, she's unstoppable, no matter what life throws at her. Bette even got chased by a bear on the West Coast because of her donuts, but more on that later. At 101, Bette laughs more freely and carries a deep sense of tranquility that many young people have yet to gain. Bette's life isn't just about surviving history, it's about thriving through it. She has so much to teach us about what truly matters in life. But before we dive deeper into her fascinating story, we decided to have a little fun and get to know her better. Here's what happened when we asked Bette some icebreaker questions to kick things off.
How many siblings were there in your family?
Just me.
You were an only child?
Yes,
How did you like that?
I loved it
Why did you love it?
because I got all the attention.
All right. What was your favorite subject in school?
That's a toughie. I don't think I had a favorite subject. I just handled them all as well as I could.
Fun fact, Bette was exceptionally smart, so she just skipped the 2nd grade. By the time she graduated, she was just 16 years old.
When did you learn how to paint?
I've always been a drawer and an artist. I drew and drew and drew.
What did you draw? People?
Mostly people, always people. I just love to draw. In fact, all my books in school had stuff on every page. The teacher would be talking and I'd be drawing.
Did you ever get in trouble for it?
No. That's me.
Oh, the ice cream one.
The ice cream. That's me at 5 years old out in Sedalia, Missouri, in front of my uncle's ice cream store. My mother's name was Louise and my dad was Donald. He was my dad. And he was good looking and he was successful and he was just wonderful. I didn't really verbalize it. We weren't that kind of a family.
Yeah.
But oh, my heart I just loved him. He was a boss, over there. He was paymaster. He was special. I just loved him to death.
So your mom worked at the ice cream shop then when she was growing up?
My mom was also a pianist. She played at the local theater, and for any celebrities that came to town, she would play the piano for them. She said that when she stepped off the train and looked at my dad and he looked at her, It was love at first sight.
Oh my gosh.
That was in like October. They were married February 1st.
Oh my gosh.
Loved each other. Just loved each other. And my dad was really handsome. He was a looker and a dresser. And my aunt said, boy, she said, did he like clothes and dressing up? She said, when he walked down the street, every woman on the street was looking out their window at Don Roberts because he was so good looking and such a dresser and everything. Yeah. He would never have jeans on. He was a dresser.
Do you remember the first time you were ever heartbroken by a boy when you were growing up or anything? Was there?
No, I was never heartbroken by a boy. I did the heartbreaking. Never was I heartbroken.
And who was your best friend growing up?
Oh, Mary Margaret.
Tell us about
Mary
her.
Margaret Bircher. Well, we went through grade school together, went to St. Joseph Academy together and graduated, and went to Notre Dame College. She was also an only child, as I were, so we were thick as glue. We even double dated together.
Really?
Oh, yes. Her date was, he drove the car, and Fred and I were in the back seat,
Did you ever like sneak smoke cigarettes?
Oh, my God, no.
Really?
I did try it when I went to college. I tried it.
Did
But
you?
I couldn't understand why anyone would want that awful smell around them and in their throat and in their mouth, so it didn't turn me on at all.
What was your favorite holiday growing up as a kid?
Christmas.
Why?
Got presents. I was the only one to get them. I'm the only child, so boy, I loved Christmas. As a little girl, I was quiet, I was inquisitive, and I was more watchful of other people than being one of them. I enjoyed surveying people and taking them all in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
All right.
Because I didn't like people looking at me and being promoted as, I just didn't like being looked at.
Yeah.
Shy.
And if you could say 3 words to describe you now at 101 years old, what would you say?
Just the opposite.
What was your husband's full name and when was he born?
Gerald Joseph Lago. And he was born February the 15th, 1921. No, but Jerry, he was good looking and 6'2" and oh man,
Do you remember what movie you saw on your first
No,
date?
I don't. I don't.
But you think you went to a movie on
Oh
your
yeah.
first date?
Oh he took me to the movie, then out for a soda after. Every time I got sick, even if with a sore throat, he'd come home with flowers
Oh.
or a present of some kind. I
Oh.
felt so sorry for me. I was 20 when I got married.
Okay.
Yeah, because the war came along. We dated and for about a year, and then war broke out, and he had to go away. And so it was writing letters every day. My mother used to say, "Can't you just skip one day writing him?" I said, "No." So I wrote him every day, and he wrote me every day. And then one day I worked in the terminal tower, and then one day I came down the elevator, and he's standing there in his uniform. I said, it was Wednesday. And I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "We're going to get married Saturday." I said, "We are?" And we did. And so he came home then, and my mom and I went down and got a dress, and I got married.
So tell me about your wedding dress. What was that like?
You know, I'm a rebel. I don't conform. My mother took me downtown right away to get the veil and the dress and everything. I said, no, I don't want that. So I got a gorgeous pink silk dress. It had really great arms up here, you know. I had long white gloves up to there. And I just did it my way.
Good for you.
I did it my way. I was different. I tell you, I'm a rebel.
You're a rebel without a cause.
I am. If they're a good person to marry, not necessarily rich or famous or anything, but that they're true to them. Oh, you know.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we got married Saturday morning. Came on Wednesday, we were married Saturday morning. And Sunday morning, we were on the train to Washington, D.C.
What'd you do in Washington,
Stayed
D.C.?
with him.
Wow.
And I wrote my boss in the nickel plate letter, and he was upset.
What did the letter say?
It's just, I was in love, and I was happy, and that was it. Well, Jerry was at the Pentagon. He was in a very special secret code group of 3 guys.
Jerry Logal.
They were sent to Omaha, Nebraska to learn the code that was sent to the generals. When there was messages sent from general to general, they could be in our English because the enemy was listening to us all the time. So it was all in a code.
Wow.
And Jerry's the one that would interpret their words into the code and send it to the generals.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a very big job at the Pentagon. So I went down to Washington, and we got an apartment, and I stayed there.
What do you remember about those times during
I just had a ball in Washington.
Did you?
Oh my gosh.
What did you love about it?
Well, it was so exciting. He would have to work till 11 at night at the Pentagon, and I'd hop on a streetcar and go downtown and meet him, and we'd go out to nightclubs and dancing and everything. It was just, and there were servicemen from every country there, and generals, and you could see, I saw, who was I? With the movie stars that were in uniform walking down the street. Who was it? I can't.
Two seismic events shook the world in the 20th century. The Great Depression, which crippled economies and broke the spirit of nations, and World War II, a period of immense turmoil and tragedy. These twin crises left scars across the globe and changed humanity forever.
Well, I know at home there was rationing, and everyone got like a pound of butter, whatever it was, butter, eggs, a pound of meat. Everything was rationed.
Butter was restricted to just 57 grams per week. As a replacement, plant-based alternatives were introduced and fortified with vitamin D to help prevent rickets.
Oh,
and
yeah.
A lot of people were out of jobs, and no one did much of anything. Trust me.
We were nobodies. A whole lot of nobodies. I can still see the endless queues outside the soup kitchens.
Kids didn't have the toys they have now at all, of course, and all the other things. The little kids are running around with these phones and stuff that would have been unheard of. But we were so happy with, the best things I did in my life was skip rope. My girlfriends and I would just jump rope and play hopscotch and things like that. It was very lean times. I can remember there's holes in your shoes during the Depression. You put cardboard in your shoes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I remember the hard times. Sometimes there'd be a knock at the back door, and my mother opened the door, and there'd be a grizzly-looking guy standing there like a bum, but not vicious or ready to hit you or anything, saying, "Could you please spare a piece of bread?"
Oh.
Things were tough, very tough.
What was the depression? In your words, when you say it was going through depression, what was that?
No one had work. Everything stopped. Father came on one day and said, there is no job anymore. There's no orders. There's no nothing. So everything stopped. You know, it was, but I don't know what caused it, but this wasn't just in Cleveland. It was all over the world. Men lost their jobs because no one had any money to buy the things they were producing. Movies weren't open because no one had a quarter to go to the movies. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. There were bums sitting on the sidewalk with a cup asking for a nickel.
Yeah.
It was awful. And we just don't, you know, people in today's world that don't understand the depression. I don't know. I was just always sick there all my life. All my life.
But you're pretty healthy now.
More than ever before.
Wow.
More than ever before. I was always sick in bed. I had measles when I was in my 40s. I mean, for the third or fourth time in my life. I had scarlet fever. I had terrible diseases. I almost died with scarlet fever. I really think it's a miracle that I'm alive. In fact, I had an after-death experience, if you want to hear about it. Okay, it was while I was having this severe illness, and I was laying in bed, and I was very, very sick. I hadn't gotten even out of bed for weeks. And I remember thinking, and I was suddenly being lifted out of bed, and I would go up toward the ceiling, just about an inch at a time. And I didn't know what was going on. I was laying there and looking, and I was coming near the ceiling, and I was thinking, what's going to happen when I get to the ceiling? Which was, I didn't know, but I was having an after-death experience. I almost died. I didn't know what was happening. I mean, I felt like I was weightless as I was going up like an inch at a time and getting closer and closer to the ceiling. I really thought I was going up to heaven. I felt myself floating out of bed and going up, which is what they say is what you do when you die. And then I must have passed out. I don't know what happened.
So do you think when you got to the ceiling, you would have...
I didn't know what I would do. I wouldn't know. I didn't know. I got close to it, and then it passed.
Wow.
So I almost died.
And you still remember this all those years later?
Right in my mind, yeah.
Glad you lived.
80, me too.
90 years later.
Long time later, yeah. Yep.
If your great grandkids are watching this, kids you've never met before, they haven't even been born, what do you want to say to them?
Well, I certainly hope they have faith in the Lord. I don't care what church it is they go to, just as long as they believe. That's it.
Believe in what?
In God. In heaven. That we're all here on earth for a purpose. My father had no faith at all, and my mom was Catholic, and they got married by a priest, and I was sent to a Catholic school, so the nuns taught me. So that's how I learned the basics. My dad never went to church and never was against it, just never talked about it. But my mom did. She was faithful, Mass every Sunday. He would drive her to church, drop her off, then come and get her and pick her up. And after he was retired and all, he said, I've done this for years. Why don't I just go in church and sit with you? And she said, it wouldn't work. And he said, well, then maybe I better find out. And so he started going to classes, and it takes a long time to learn all about the faith. He went all winter, once a week, and studied his books and everything. And in May, he made his first Holy Communion and went to Mass, and he died in October. So we were so thrilled to know my dad was a man of faith when he died. And he really was. It was just the best moment of my life. Just tremendous. Yeah. There's so many different religions, and the Muslim religion and all the different faiths in the world, but I think we're all heading to the same place. We just don't know. We just have to have faith, and that's what faith is.
Yep.
Believing without knowing. My mom was not one of those that made you do this or that. She let it up to you, and I would jump in bed and then say my prayers.
Oh, nice.
To myself. I thought, and I still do think prayers private. Yeah. You're talking to the Lord. Why should anyone be listening to you?
When is your favorite time to talk to God? Growing up or even now, almost at 101 years old, do you have a certain time of day you always...
No, just any time. No certain time, no. He's here all the time.
Tell me about it.
When Lisa was a little child, she was 4 years old, I think, 4 to 5. And there was something wrong with her heart, very seriously wrong with her heart. And so we took her to the heart center at Charity Hospital downtown. They had about 10 doctors around her. She was dying. And they didn't know what it was. They knew something was wrong with it, but it wasn't good. And she was 19 pounds and 5 years old. That's how much some babies are when they're a year old.
Yeah.
5 years old.
Wow.
She was the smallest little thing you ever saw. And they said it was because of her heart trouble. So they took her in the morning, and they prepped her and did all that. And she was with them, about 5 heart specialists all day. And Jerry and I were waiting out in the room, and finally they all came out. The doctor stood in front of us, and we were dying for him to tell us what's wrong. And they looked at us and they said, we can't find anything wrong with her heart. There was nothing wrong with her heart. And she is today, without any operation or anything, pills or anything.
Wow.
She made a change after that, and she grew up normally, and here she is today. We thought we were going to lose her, really, definitely.
So I know you've told me a few times about how excited you are to see your parents in heaven. What is the first thing you're going to say to them when you get to heaven, do you think?
I don't know. I'll just run to them and give them hugs. I just can't wait.
right, Betty, are you ready for the next section?
Not really. I'll give it a go.
Are you being held against your will to do this project?
No, I love it.
You do?
Uh-huh.
What do you like about the project?
You, of course.
Oh. What was the best advice you've ever gotten about money?
Save it. Really?
Really?
When I was a little girl, my mother's brother, my Uncle Joe, would come over, and every payday, he'd give me a dime from his paycheck. Because, you know, people didn't make much money, and a dime was a big thing. And I was about 7, and as soon as it hit my hand, I ran as fast as I could to my bedroom and put it in my piggy bank.
Really?
I was taught to save everything. I never spent anything. I saved it. You need money to just exist, but be careful how you spend the leftover, because you might need it someday. Always save money.
What is one of the most important lessons you've ever learned in your life? It can be about anything. Life, money.
Just to be truthful and honest and good.
Who taught you that?
I think it just comes along with normal existing. You get lessons all the time in your life. And you learn what is good and what is bad, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. The trip, when we went out west, we had 3 kids, and I was pregnant. Just found out I was pregnant with Lisa.
Wow.
So I had 3 kids with me, and we took off in the car with a tent that we put up every night. Lori and I slept there in sleeping bags, and we went for 3 weeks all over the West. We went to every state, Yellowstone Park, and Zion, and up to about everywhere.
Wow.
It was fantastic. But, we didn't live in hotels. We went to a hotel about once every 5 days to take a shower and everything. But we had a lot of fun, and the first time out west for all of us, it was great. Yeah. In fact, I had a bear chase me in Yellowstone. We were sitting there, we'd bought some donuts, and we were in the park, and we were ready to go, and I was cleaning up, and I looked up, and oh God, here's this bear coming after me, and I have donuts all over, on the table in a box, and boy, I picked them up and ran as fast as my legs would get me in that car, and I just got inside the door and slammed it in time.
Chase you?
Sure, chased me to the car. He wanted those donuts.
Whoa, were you scared?
Yes, I was scared, terrified. Sure. Jerry liked to travel, and he told me every payday, he said, be sure you put something away for a trip.
Oh.
And we went up into Canada, up the St. Lawrence River to Quebec and St. Anne de Beaupré, and it was just a good life, even with the kids, yeah.
When Jerry faced Parkinson's later in life, Betty stood steadfast by his side, embodying resilience and love in its purest form.
The sad part was Jerry had Parkinson's disease, and I did all the driving after that. And poor guy, he had a hard time, and so it was hard. But it was embarrassing for him.
Yeah,
for me to do all the driving, But by then the kids were off to college and this and that, and it was okay.
Betty's love and devotion to Jerry and to those around her leads us to the last chapter, a well-lived century, and Betty's legacy. When Betty turned 100, her whole family and best friends gathered together to celebrate a century well lived. Everyone she loved was there. She even got a picture with 100 reasons why people love her so much.
If Jerry was watching this video right now and he saw this project you were doing, what do you think he would say?
Go for it.
Really?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I have nothing to hide. Are you happy?
Bette is turning 102 now and looks back at a legacy full of memories, love, and joy. But the story is not over yet. There really are some last important questions we have to ask her.
I cannot think of one thing I do differently. I think it worked out beautifully, and I think it was laid out before me, and I think what's to be will be. Well, I believe wholeheartedly that our whole life is laid out in front of us, and we just carry it out. Everyone's life is so different that just accept what comes and thank God for everything you got.
Yeah.
Just remember me as I am. I did the best to get through life and take care of you and teach you the right thing, and you've just been wonderful kids. I've been so lucky to have 4 wonderful kids.
Oh.
Yeah, I really have. They're all wonderful. They're all different, but in their own way, they're tops. Yeah.
What's the one thing you want them to do?
Remember me and their dad with love in their hearts.
Oh. And what about each other? How do you want your kids to treat each other when you're gone?
Oh, absolutely. To be kind and gentle and thoughtful and just be good people. Good people. Yeah. It's not that hard.
What else should we ask? Was that the hardest section yet?
No, that was easy.
It was?
Good.
All right.
I loved it. Thank you so much. So much. You're 1 in a million. You are terrific.
Oh.
You really are. I'm so lucky to have you across the street. So lucky, honey.
High five. That's so good. All right, let's practice one more time and then we'll film it for real.
As the saying goes, to truly understand, you must ask the right questions. Katie's thoughtful questions and initiative turned Bette's movie of life into an everlasting legacy.
I think I've always felt like I was so lucky.
Oh.
So my whole life, I've never felt abused or depressed. I was always happy. I had a happy marriage and a happy life and a wonderful childhood. Being the only child, it helps a lot, you know. I can't think of anything that went wrong.
Oh my goodness.
No, I really can.
So, do you remember your line? Who's your favorite neighbor?
It's a secret.